It's the kid. Biggest threat. I go by Jamarcus Day, HB Day. If you ain't know, me and Mama Cuddle, no, not really. Excuse me when I call you hoe, but bitch, you know I talk like that. I know it's been a minute, and I'm gonna be honest and transparent with you guys. I ain't had no energy, man. I done had a lot of shit going on. I done finally kind of settled it down between legal documentations, filing, running back and forth between cities, also trying to entertain myself, family drama, all type of shit. But I'd like to apologize for one, not being here, two, also for showing my ass over the past 3-4 weeks. Been showing my ass. I've been on not 10, I've been on 7, because 10 is a level where you can't come back from with me, because trust me. But I like to apologize for that, say that, hey, I'm only apologizing not because I hurt somebody's feelings, but because I want to do better. And the way that I can do better is realizing who's in my energy, what they're in my energy for, and realizing who all is a threat to my peace that I'm creating in this new chapter, in this new life I have. So today we're going to keep it pretty short. Going forward, I probably won't have too many chats. Depending on how it go. Little investigation. Channel's been under investigation. But if anybody here fucks with my music or anything else that I do outside of just talking spiritual, you can follow me at Daydreaming, DEYDREAMIIN. That's on all platforms. YouTube is spelled. Just dropped a new music video, Escaping You. Go check that out. Today's topic we're going to be talking about is energy vampires. Energy vampires in everyone's life can look different ways. The experience that I've had over the past couple of weeks has let me know who else in my life that was in my life were energy vampires, to actually be able to put a name on it. The first one we're going to start with is the emotional dumper. A lot of people do this and they don't even understand, how that comes off. Me, I'm real big about not trying to pick up the phone until after 10 o'clock in the morning. Why? I just woke up. My energy's fresh in the day. The second that I hear somebody complain about anything, I feel like that's like a little emotional dumping, and it just weighs on my energy and it weighs on my spirit, and I just don't be rocking with that. So, for example, I realized over these past couple of weeks when I was going back and forth between Dallas and San Antonio, like train on train, like train here 2 days, train there 2 days, right? That my mom has always been an emotional dumper, right? And I don't think she understands that's what she does. No matter how many times I've tried to tell her, sometimes people just don't understand certain things when you articulate it to them. They're not ready to understand, right? They can understand it, but being willing, I'm good. How you doing? Doing great today. But they can't really do anything about it. So one of the things she would do is, like, she calls me, right? And I answer the phone for my mama. You're supposed to answer the phone for your mama. First thing she'll do is she don't ask me how I'm doing. She just jumps straight into whatever the hell she wants to talk about. Now, sometimes you thinking like, oh yeah, mama, all mamas do that. It's not a good thing, because a lot of the things she jumps into is her problems, where she needs solutions at, what's going on in her life. Don't even say hey, like, and I have to tell my mama, like, hey, ma, I'm good. How are you? Now, where does this become a problem at? Well, when I need somebody to talk to, where my mama at? Nowhere to be found. My mama can send me in the store to do something for her and will not answer the phone. How's my family? My family is my family. I just wrote this line the other day in one of my songs where I will tell you that, if I call you fam, you fam. That don't mean you ain't a bitch. So right now, me and my fam, a lot of my family, they on the hit list. I'm not entertaining it, and it's because of the conversation we having today about being energy vampires. And I had to realize that in different situations, a lot of them were different. And I found up to 12 different labels for energy vampires. What's happening? What's going on? Everybody here today? Trying to keep it short, trying to stay on track. I apologize for not being here, but I'm here, showing up. There's 12 different ones. Today we're going to cover the first three. One is the emotional dumper. Another one is a conflict-based one. And the third one is the passive-aggressive leech, right? Now, I can personally say I'm from the East Coast. That's what we're going to simplify it for. I'm born in Tampa, out of Atlanta. We're just going to simplify it for you. Yes. Yeah, but a lot of times people don't want to look at their flaws and whatnot. So when it comes to the emotional dumping aspect that my mom brings to the table, she doesn't see it that way. She looks at it because she's thinking that she has the purest intent, right? And so when you look at things with the aspect of coming from self, and you don't really have that full world view, you can only see here. You think intent is everything, and intention is everything. By the way, it is. Oh, dang, that's what's up, man. That's what's happening, man. I appreciate you. Halfway across the world. I didn't know what time it was, but much love to you. They don't really seem to. It's getting that full world view. That's why they say life experience comes into play, and that's how they can say like you could be 60, 70, 80 years old and still think like a kid. Sorry, I only know English. But the emotional aspect and the emotional dumping my mom has done has always been something she's done her whole life due to the trauma she's dealt with men. She'll make comments toward me or expect me to deal with certain things that the average person wouldn't. So during this journey, over these past couple of weeks, one of the things I dealt with was my sister emotional dumping onto my mom, and my mom emotionally dumping onto me, and they both expecting me to deal with it and put my nephew in the middle of it. I'll never do anything to harm a kid. I've never done anything to harm a kid. I was the kid that was harmed. So that's like a big no-no for me. But the games that we're trying to play, right, in an emotional aspect, right, to try to fuck with your mental, to try to make you feel like you're not worthy, right, but that at the same time, like you're tolerated. My mom comes to me for all her problem solving, yet my sister could sit there on her floor and not do shit and dictate me even saying hey to my nephew. Now, note, did she push the motherfucker out? Yeah. But once again, I don't believe that in a family, like it's just one person's kid. Does one person at the end of the day hold the responsibility if all else fails? Absolutely. In a 3D sense. I make the time. And that's the thing about it. I don't care about them giving me the time. I'm going to speak my mind regardless, and I'm going to make the time. And if they don't want to hear me, that's when they get put on the hit list. Because we're all adults here and we've been dealing with stuff our whole life. But it's not a personal thing. At this point, they are who they are, and they still family. It's just family I'm not fucking with right now. That's just what it is. And I learned that in my absence that people tend to do better or learn more of the lessons that I tried to incorporate and try to talk to them about through hitting their own head as opposed to having me there to help them stop from hitting their head. So the situation just entailed my mom not realizing, like we got into a big argument in the car. And I had went around the whole day helping her with all her little problems. She had a laptop for like 2-3 months that she hadn't been able to use to get a cord for. My sister sitting here in her house every day with my nephew. All she had to do was go to Walmart with her and help her get the right cord. Now, no, you're like, hey, your mama should have been able to do that. Once again, we know how older people are when it comes to technology. It's not their biggest thing. But for me, I try to do things like that. It was doing things like that I felt like I had to do. It's always been things like that growing up. But she's always used me as that emotional stability tool, like to steadfast in her life when it comes to dealing with her emotions and her problems. So even as a child, when there's no food in the house, that's why it was okay for me to say, hey, mama, I won't eat. I'll let you and my sister eat. In my mom's eyes, she'll say that's what being a man is. No, it's not what being a man is. If anything, being a man is, that means I should eat because I'm the one that's finna solve the problem. If we being technical, I shouldn't go without eating so y'all can eat, and y'all ain't finna get up and solve no problem. Because how the fuck my brain's supposed to work? If we being technical, that's just my thought about it. But me understanding during this time period, during the argument, that she couldn't see, like she literally had said, oh, sometimes I do things and I don't realize I'm doing them until after I've done them. It was one of them situations. I can't speak to my nephew, but I'm running around here making sure he got the right appropriate school clothes and school shoes while my sister's sitting at the house with him. And she's supposed to be the one out here with you since she's saying that, oh, it's her son. Absolutely. Absolutely. Family is supposed to be dependable, but not always a dependent. Absolutely. And dependent and dependable can look different ways. We're not just talking financially. We're not just talking emotionally. It's all different aspects. Like some people will draw the line at, oh, my family can't come stay with me, right? Listen, I've done everything under the sun for my family because I'm a Cancer at the end of the day. So family for me is like the biggest thing. And it's also been the biggest thing to shoot me in the foot, to be honest with you. So like I said, I don't ask people for gas money. I don't ask people who stay with me. I've had cousins that stay with me for months, like 4, 5, 6 months. Never asked them for a dime, right? Did it shoot me in the foot? Depending on who you ask. But I'm not the type of person to expect things like that. If I'm going to help you, I'm going to genuinely help you. And I'm grateful in my life that through what I'm going through right now, as far as like the homeless situation and all the things that I have going on and I'm juggling, that I'm able to find more good-spirited people than I have in my life when I was making myself accessible, being that dependable person for people to be dependent on. And it's never just been financially, financially it's never been that. It's always been an emotional, physical aspect, like, oh, help me move, or what I'm saying, oh, call me at 6 o'clock in the morning and all you do is complain about your wife. Just it's things like that. And I have no problem with helping people through their problems, but I'm also a big advocate now for making space for you and making space for yourself. That's why my rule is 10 o'clock to 7 a.m. 7 p.m. Like, I'm not trying to be on the phone. I'm hungry. I had to tell me to reinforce that the other day. She's like, it's okay for you to tell me, like, you ain't in the best mood to be hearing this right now. Bet. Appreciate you for bringing me back. That's what a real friend's gonna do. A real friend's not gonna get mad at you because you have boundaries. That's probably can push me through. Faith to stay with me. And that's exactly what the Most High do at all times. He'll always make sure that you have people, or that you meet people just at the right time when you feel like giving up, that'll push you forward or remind you of who you are, what your purpose is, and that you're not abandoned. But yeah, the emotional dumper, like that's a big one. That's a big one right there. I've grown up with that, and that's created a anxious attachment style because it taught me that love is conditional and love is not conditional, which makes it hard pressed for me to have relationships with people in any aspect. We're gonna jump to the second one right here. Well, we're gonna jump to the third one because I remember the third one off top. The second one is a little more personal because it's a perception that I've had to deal with, but it's because I've had to deal with it due to it being from the third one. So the third one is the passive aggressive leech, right? They gonna smile in your face and say those sideways backhanded compliments, right? Not understanding, or like with the intent of to try to break you down and to make you feel some type of way. So outside of my mom, I didn't grow up with my mom, but that's what I've always dealt with from my mom, whether it was close or from afar. This passive aggressive leech, I was surrounded by extreme family members and friends that operated it this way. And where are they at to this day? I don't know. I don't really care. They did so much they tried to do so much damage that, they thought I would just fade off the world. But honestly, it pushed me into a new space. And I'm happy for that. I chose that journey. I'm happy for that. Kudos to whatever they got going on in life. I'm straight. But passive aggressive people around you will tend to like try to poke and pry at you so they can feel better, right? They like to get those reactions up out of you so that they can act like, oh, what is he talking about? I don't know where that came from. And for me, I'm a very direct person. So it bothers me when people aren't direct, and that's where you would get the reaction out of me. And so that's where I would be recharging their battery. That's an emotional vampire. That's where I would charge their battery up at. Because they'll poke at me, they'll get a reaction, even if it's the smallest, man, boy, you ain't shit. Like, and honestly, I ain't gonna lie to you. A lot of times, I know what's going on. I give that reaction because it makes me feel better, to be honest with you. I don't hold things in. I'm not big on holding emotions in. If that's the emotion you want from me, then fine. Then you just a negative ass person because I got plenty of positivity to give. But these type of people in these situations, and note, being an emotional vampire, you're not just one. You could be more than one. There's like a list of 12. So so you got to understand, like, the people use these things in combinations, right? The same way like we use the term narcissism, right? There's like 12 to 15 different types of narcissists, right? People are only known or only know the covert, the overt. I'm sorry. Covert is becoming more popularized now due to it being attached to women. But if you're passive aggressive, if you're a passive aggressive leech, which is an energy vampire, I would say that you're a covert narcissist, straight up, because that's how you're operating. You don't do anything direct. It's all behind the scenes. It's all little subtle shots in between hey, how's your days going? Oh, you remember that time you asked me for that? Da, da, da. Hey, just like at the wrong time. Like, why are you bringing that up right now? I've experienced so many different type of things in that situation, in those situations, that it's just like I always looked over it because you can't make me feel bad. My bad, I shook the table. You can't make me feel bad, right, for something that I told you. It's the biggest thing. I got it. Like, I remember in school, I was growing up, and I remember I realized I had a third nipple in weight training. I had a third nipple. Realized it. Boom. Looked in the mirror. It's like, oh, I got a third nipple. Told the dude next to me. He comes back to me 5 minutes later with the whole weight training class talking about I got a third nipple, and they all trying to clown me. I'm just like, huh? Just like impasse, a lot of negative was power taking power. Absolutely. And that's why you have to protect your power by setting your boundaries. But yeah, they tried to clown me about my third nipple. Like, who cares? I told you I had a third nipple. You a guy. Why do you care about me having a third nipple so bad? I got 6 fingers too. They ain't roll, but still. But back to Skyrim. Yeah, back to Skyrim. I hope I pronounced it right. I suck at pronunciations. I do. I apologize. But having that power, Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility. Having great power doesn't mean that you aren't to be challenged or that you won't experience challenges. Look at the Most High. He's all knowing. He's all powerful. He's all wielding, and motherfuckers still try to challenge him. How that makes sense? Exactly. So I'm just saying, like, things like this, like, they happen day in, day out. Congratulations. I mean, shoot, mine just didn't grow. I listen. Listen. They cut them off. And, hey, congratulations. Yeah, I kept mine. But just threw me with a sidebar right there because I would expect nobody to relate to the 6 fingers thing. But having your power taken over and over again by people that operate in such a manner like this is a hard pressed thing, especially when you're surrounded by friends and family and they recruit friends and family, which you call flying monkeys in a narcissist table, right? They all want to pull from you, and they don't realize how important you are in their life until you're gone. That's why I'm big on cutoff. One of my cousins, right? He emotionally dumps, right? And he's also another one of the things we're gonna cover on the list later at a later date. But today we just covering 1 through 3. So the first one we covered was the emotional dumper. The third one is the passive aggressive leech. And I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the second one right now, because the second one is the perceived one that I've been, or the second one is the perceived one, the drama magnet. There you go. The second one is the perceived one, right? It's the drama magnet, right? But I have to explain this, because if you're surrounded by 1 and 3, they're going to make you the drama magnet, because it fits their narrative so much better to have somebody to bully and beat up on, that they can drain and draw that energy from off of their reactions. So the drama magnet is someone who's always in conflict. Every week there's a new emergency, thrives on others' stress. The reason why I say perceived is because I've never thrived on others being stressed. That is not something I condone. If anything, I want you to be unstressed. I'm gonna come to you and ask you for the least amount possible to help me through what I'm going through. If I need $50, I'm gonna ask you for 5. Now, note that's a bad thing, but that shows you the kind of environment that I was conditioned and raised in, right? It's not okay to ask for what you need, ask for under that. That's not cool. But my mama will say that's being a man. That's not being a man, because being a man is owning everything. Matter of fact, fuck all this gender shit. Being a person is owning your shit no matter what it is. We're living in 2025. If a man is supposed to go to work and come home and know how to cook and wash his own dishes, a woman should know how to do it too. And that means a woman should come home and know about how to maintain her car. I'm not saying she should be able to go out there and put a transmission in the car, but she should be able to go out there and know how to check her oil, take her car to get her oil changed, and know when she has a flat tire. That's all I'm saying. We're in 2025. I'm not with this gender shit, right? They sell unisex clothes everywhere. My cousin told me when I hopped out of the train station with a pink dye color crop top hoodie on, he said I look suspect. Hey, I am a suspect, right? Because I am the biggest threat to whatever you thinking about or whatever you consider the norm. I am the biggest threat. So I am that suspect. I'm sorry. Absolutely. It's still in the elderly. And like I said, like, my focus is on the kids, because kids do what they're taught. I can't help anybody that's already set in their ways that does not want to see outside the bubble that they've been raised in. That's something they have to do on their own. I don't really spend my time, even though I am talking to hopefully adults right now. I'm spending my time trying to focus on the youth and the kids with my message, right? With my music, my message is translating, because the things that they're shown growing up, they're going to repeat those cycles. And a lot of people don't realize that the children that you have are meant to teach you what cycles you needed to break. But instead of breaking the cycle, they end up breaking the child. And that's what I think is the saddest part about this world. We can use the wars overseas and how they raise those children over there to pick up a gun and pick up a rocket launcher and to kill US American soldiers, right? Or we could focus on the fact that people in America think that they're better because they're not teaching their kids that. But guess what? You are teaching your kids. You're teaching your kids racism. You're teaching your kids socialism. You're teaching kids to judge people off of what shoes they wearing, how their hair looks, how their breath smells. Everybody comes from different environments and different teachings, and what kind of food they eat. It doesn't matter. So is anybody any better? You're not teaching the one thing that's supposed to be universal, which is love and positivity, right? Because women still don't say they're still living in a man's ideology, even on their own. Absolutely, absolutely. They've overshot the boundaries of what true understanding of equality is, right? And I don't believe that they want equality, because equality would mean that they would change their own spark plugs when it's time for a tune-up. They want equity. which is equality in the right spaces. Because if you just want equality, period, then that means, hey, when you get robbed for your purse, don't go say, hey, where's the man at? Okay. And I'm not woman bashing, but it's the same as a man. If you want, if we want equality, we can't be crying about the prices of shit when it comes time to pay for it. Okay. We can't be doing that. All right. We got to stick to the script, And I see a lot of women nowadays talk about the fact that the prices of their clothes are going up for them. Welcome to the world. I'm just gonna say welcome to the world. Men have been paying $40 for a pair of jeans. $25 a shirt. Like it's been that. I've listen, I'm not an envious person, but I've always envied women when it comes to shopping because I'm like, hold on, man, y'all get to go buy all this for like $100. $100 for us is the outfit barely. Well, let's not even talk about the shoes. We grab the shoes, it's over with. But yeah, but definitely the drama magnet. That's a title that's been put on me. What's going on? What's happening? That's been put on me due to being around emotional dumpers and passive aggressive leeches that have used their opportunities to siphon my energy to feel better about themselves, to push their own agenda, right? To make their lives seem like it's going a certain type of way so they can have someone to blame for what's going on in their life. And that's what I say my sister did. My sister threatened to text my mama and told my mama that she was gonna file kidnapping charges because my mom is sick. And I told her she just wasn't responding to my mom's messages, and I told her baby daddy that he needed to come get his son. Now he was mad at me about some stuff that me and my sister had going on, but sir, you're not a part of this family. You ain't married to my sister. That's between me and my sister. And my sister chose the route that she chose, and I made sure she was addressed. I bet she won't do it again. I bet she won't. But that's a lesson my sister should have learned a long time ago before she got an adult out here running around like this. Unless having a husband doing everything and not knowing what to do afterward if he leaves Earth, why things like that. See, what I say about that comment right there, Skyrim, is I feel like the true representation of a man is to leave you in a better position than you were with whatever knowledge he had after he's gone. And that's for a woman too, because there are women that bring tremendous amount of things to the table. Not just love and respect or they vagina. There are women out here nowadays that know how to make more money than men. There are women out here that have a different way of thinking that can elevate a man who's never had that before in his life. Whoever you deal with, especially when it comes from being a man, he shouldn't just be doing everything for you. You should be retaining this information so that you know how to do it for yourself when he is not there. I used to have a homegirl that had a husband. They had 3 kids, and she came outside one day and he was dead in the front yard. He was like, what, 30? Fortunately, in that situation, she had always been a sophisticated type of thinker. She took AP classes from 9th grade. She had big dreams. She just got a little sidetracked. Everybody gets sidetracked in life. But she had always been one of those people that helped kind of like make money and figure things out and stuff like that. So it was a hard situation for her for not having a support system to be able to sustain the 3 girls and moving around how she used to, because once he died, his family stopped rocking with her like that. But oh yeah, you good. Yeah, you good. You good. Definitely. But I just encourage anybody that whoever you're dealing with, in whatever fashion you're dealing with them, whether they're friends, family, significant other, that person is bettering you. And if they're not bettering you, if you can't come back and say, hey, this person is giving me something out of life. And I'm not saying that you have to use everybody. I'm not saying, oh, be a user. No, that's not what I'm saying. But we have to be honest about this. Every relationship you have is transactional to a certain extent. We just gonna be honest, right? Like, think about it. How many of y'all got friends that you're not attracted to? I'm just saying. It's some type of transaction there. It's some type of transaction. I'm not saying you got to be in love with her, or you got to be trying to have sex with them, or whatever you say the term is. it's some type of transaction there. So that means, so all I'm just asking people is to look beyond the superficial and to dig deeper into what you're actually getting from that particular relationship. Shout out TZ. TZ is a great friend of mine. We have never met in person, but me and this girl have been like locked in for like 3 years. Best friend. Shout out my homegirl A1. Best friend too. Do they provide the same things? No, but they still my friends. And they're able to check me at times when I need to be checked, and I'm able to check them at times. And respectfully, TZ will tell me I ain't trying to hear that shit now. And A1 to tell me, she'll tell me straight up. She's like, I ain't trying to hear that shit. They say it in 2 different ways. She's like, I be hearing you, but I ain't trying to hear that shit. Same way. A1 had to yell at me the other day and say, nigga, let that shit go. Fuck you talking about this shit for? You asking questions that you already got the answer to. Let me know that she been listening to me the whole time I've been talking. You know? So, yeah, people do get cut off. Yeah, you do lose family, friends, especially with dealing with emotional vampires. But I promise you, there are good people. They may be slow to collect. They may be slow to come around. But like Scott Ron said, hey, the Most High will always put somebody in your life to remind you that you're not alone. It's not over with. You do deserve something differently that you're chasing for. You're not crazy for that. So, with all that being said, man, much love to everybody that came into the chat today. Thank you for listening to this conversation on emotional vampires. Thank you for coming back if you come back. If it's your first time, thank you for that. Once again, I ask anybody in the chat, you're my family. So if you're my family, I would appreciate it if you go over to my music channel, which I will tag in the description of this video after it ends. Daydreaming, DEYDREAMIIN. That's where all the music is at. So if you like R&B, if you like hip hop, rap, you like a little hyper pop, I do some of all of that. All that's going to be over on the other channel. That's where I strictly handle my music business. But I would much love subscribers over there so I can go live, man. Blessings to you, man. Thank you for coming in and being so inclusive and so conversive in the chat. Man, thank you, man. Thank you for being where you at and having this conversation, man. Much love to everybody. Until next time.